everyone. How's the training going? Amazing. I love amazing. That's good. It means you're learning a lot. Just you being here means that you want to learn something. My name is Maureen Oblieto. I work for an offshore financial advisory firm, so I'm running the De Vere Zambia office. I'm the country director. So like the pastor has mentioned, when you hear my name, a lot of people think, you know, it opens doors. I don't know how many have heard the name Oblieto before. Yeah? Obviously you have. My grandfather was a very powerful man. Yeah. Very, very powerful. So a lot of people think when I say my name is Maureen Oblieto with what I've achieved, they think that it's because of my name, but unfortunately for me, it's just a name. It didn't do anything for me. So if you can go to the YouTube channel or CBC channel, you'll be able to watch my story and you'll be able to see that I didn't have the best childhood. I didn't grow up with my biological parents, so I'm not privileged at all. I'm where I am today because I put in an effort, because I didn't give up. You know, I was abused as a child. I had to finish school at a later stage when everybody else had already finished school. You know, I didn't give up on myself. I always went out to look for opportunities. And that has paid off. It has paid off. You know, in life throws a lot of challenges at you. So you can decide to complain, to mourn about it. You know, there are certain people that will complain that they are orphans. You know, I'm an orphan. Both my parents died. But that didn't stop me from putting myself out there and looking for opportunities. When I completed my grade 12, at the time my grandfather was still alive. So at that time I can say I was a little bit privileged because my grandfather was alive then, and then he was the former Speaker of the National Assembly. So he was given an office at the house and there was a secretary. So while we were waiting for results to come out for grade 12, I used to trouble the secretary every morning. Do you have letters to type? Can you teach me how to type? You know, and just me asking for that, I became fast at typing. And that is how I landed one of my first jobs in an internet cafe, which was you remember a long time ago, internet was not easily accessible. Yeah. You know, people had to go and pay in an internet cafe for you to actually access internet services. So because I became so fast, you know, instead of just sitting at home waiting for results, I decided to use my time wisely, and I became fast at typing. So my very first job was in an internet cafe in Chilenge. Even this day, I still remember that little internet cafe in Chilenge. I used to get on 2 buses to get there. And it was because of that, then I got a job there. And again, because in that internet cafe, I used to type a lot of emails, you know, a lot of letters. So my typing speed was becoming faster and faster. And that also helped me get a job later on as a secretary. Now, I'll tell you a story of how I got that job as a secretary, because for you to be a secretary, you need to have shorthand. Now, I didn't have shorthand. And at a time when I was, you know, looking for a job, I was a single parent, and, you know, the father of my child refused to take responsibility, and my family couldn't look after me. So then I had to find a little 1-room cottage where the toilet was even outside, and my son was 3 months old. Because of the time that my grandfather was still alive, we used to get, you know, some allowances here and there. So I used to save. You know, I used to save. I had a bit of money in my account, so I was able to pay for my rental for about 6 months. And I told myself, before this 6 months ends, I will find another job. So I found a little cottage in Chadley, because at the time, you know, I couldn't be looked after by my family with a child. So that's when I moved to Chadley. And in that 6 months, I used to wake up every morning going to look for a job. If I know my friend works for Barclays, I'll be at Barclays every morning. Whoever I knew worked anywhere, I was at their door every single day. I used to wake up as if I'm working, like I'm going for a job. But I just used to go out there looking for employment. A time would come when I don't even have money to buy a newspaper, because those days there was no social media. So if you needed to look for an advert, you needed to actually buy a newspaper for you to, look at the adverts. So there was a gentleman down the road that when I have money, I would go down the road, buy a newspaper, go through. I would need to buy all 3 newspapers. So the Post newspaper, the Daily Mail, the Times of Zambia, look at all the job adverts for that day, take them down, go back home, write application letters. The next morning, get on a bus, head to town, go and drop application letters door to door. And I used to do that every day, okay? So there would be days when I can't afford to buy a newspaper. So because I was a frequent buyer from that gentleman, he would just let me, sit down, Madam Kalani, take down whatever you need to take down. So because I developed a relationship with him, and this is also key, that's why I'm sharing, developing relationships is very key in your success. Because imagine if I was rude to that gentleman, but I was nice to him. Whenever I had money, I would buy only from him. So then he would, help me out when I don't have money. So anyway, fast forward, because of that experience in the business center, helping people look at emails, typing. So one time a friend of mine called me and said, this was Zambia Wildlife Authority then, and said one of the secretaries is going on leave. So they are looking for a relief management secretary to work only for a month. And that was just after the 6-month rentals that I had paid. I spent 6 months looking for a job and they were almost due. But I had this faith, I visualized that this 6 months, I need to find a job. And I applied myself to looking for a job. And just when the 6 months was about to come to an end, I got called 1 month. So I went to the director's office at Zambia Wildlife Authority. And the secretary said, but you don't have shorthand. I said, try me. I don't have shorthand, but I'm really fast. So the secretary told me, my boss is the most difficult boss in this company. I don't think that you can manage a day with him. But she was in a hurry. So she had no other options. So she said, you know what? Let me try you, but I know that I will be coming to the office every day because my boss is very difficult. So she left. She was never called to come to the office. Wow. Not one day. And the same boss she said was the most difficult, I never found him to be difficult. He understood that I didn't have shorthand, so when he needed minutes to be taken or instructions, he was slow in giving me instructions. I was doing everything perfectly well. That month went, and I was paid 1,500 kwacha that month. And the 30 days ended. Then I went back home. So 1,500, I went and stretched my rental again and bought some food and went back to looking for a job. A month later, I got called, the same company. They said another secretary is going on leave. And I never left that place for a year. Because all the directors, and at that time there were so many directors, so all the directors had a secretary, and every secretary was entitled to a 1-month leave. So after that, I was just rotating from one office to another, and then after 1 year, they actually created a position for me in the IT department. But in between me being transferred to the IT department, then I got called, because remember all the jobs I had applied, that now they started calling. Now they started calling. So then I got called to start working at the Post newspaper on the Sangwapo desk at the time. I don't know if you guys remember Sangwapo, typing those adverts and in the advertising department. So then I got called to the Post newspaper. That's how I started working there, and I worked there for 8 years. And when I moved to the Post newspaper, things just picked up. The salary was more. I was given, there was lunch, there was a canteen there. There were a lot of allowances, and things just started picking up. Suddenly, I'm moving from my 1 room to a 2 room, And now the toilet is inside. I don't have to go outside, and I could afford a few things here and there. And I worked there for some time, but because I didn't have a degree, my grandfather was responsible for paying my school fees, and then he died at a time when I was pregnant with my son. And I couldn't finish my university at the time. My grandfather didn't leave a will. That's a story for another day. So I couldn't finish my university, my college. So I was just in my first year. And nobody could pay for me. I would call uncles, I would call this person, and they all said they didn't have money. So that's why now I just had to focus on looking for a job. But if I'm looking for a job and I don't have papers, you will always be at the bottom, So in as much as I got a job at the Post newspaper, I still didn't have a degree. I still didn't have a diploma. So it was still at the bottom where other people come, they're given promotions. So then I made a decision to take myself to school, to go back to school. So I enrolled for, an evening degree course at Cavendish University, and that's how I started my first degree. Went, did the 3 years. It wasn't easy. In between, I had to get a loan. In between, I had to use my savings. It was not easy. Taking yourself to school, you have a son at home, you have to work. It's not easy, but I persevered. Because I knew that if I don't, nobody's coming. You can't sit down and be sad. I've got a lot of rich uncles, a lot of rich aunties. They're not coming. Nobody's coming. So then you have to decide what life you want for yourself. So I had to make a decision. What life do I want for myself? What life do I want for my son? And that's how I persevered. I would go to work and I was never late. Not a day. I never take off sick to this day. If I don't go to work, people will worry. People will know that there is something wrong. Even if I had to sleep late to submit an assignment, I would never lie to say I'm sick, I'm not coming to work tomorrow. Never. That is just never happened. So finished my degree, got my degree, graduated, was given another position better than what I had. But it still wasn't enough, I still went back to school, did some diplomas, did some certificates, and then, fast forward, there was actually a time when, I forgot to tell you, when I worked for British Airways at the time as a customer relations executive. So when you're traveling, those people that come and direct you to say your flight man is that side. If there's an old man, you're the one pushing the wheelchair. And at the time, they had this way of recruiting people. You have to work for a year for you to actually get a paid position. So all they did was give us uniforms and transport. So a bus would come and pick you up from home and take you back home, but no salary, just a uniform. And I remember when I got that job, I was so excited, and I lied to everybody that I'm getting paid. Because I don't like being negative. I don't like being negative. I took photos, I would say I'm working for British Airways, and people would be so envious. Wow, how did you get the job? But there was no salary. But I used to wake up every morning. I told myself, should I just stay home? Or what if I meet someone at British Airways who's going to give me a job? Because what do I have to lose? I'm getting given transport. They're picking me up and they're dropping me. But guess what? I used to get tips. Yes. I used to get tips. Sometimes I would knock off $50, $100. Because, again, there were a set of ladies who felt they were too slay queen to push a wheelchair, or too important to help an old lady. But for me, I see an old lady, I'm coming there. Sometimes you'd find unaccompanied minors, the parents send them and there's nobody to look after them. And then you just go there, would you like some water? Is everything okay? By the time the parents are coming, They're so happy with you that, thank you so much for looking after my child. Here's a $50. I used to get tips, probably even more than somebody who was on a salary. You know, I used to get tips, and I survived on those tips. So when you go to the bureau, it's a $50 and you change it, you know. So again, just that persistence. And I met a lot of people there as well. You know, sometimes you'd meet a minister, you get a business card, the next day you're calling, so we met yesterday, I'm looking for a job. And that's the thing, with, you know, you need to put yourself out there. When you go to a networking event, you need to make sure that you are networking with the right people, you're getting business cards. The next day, you're not waiting, you're calling. And I used to do that. Even if I didn't get the job, but at least I tried. Yeah. So fast forward, then 9 years ago, the De Vere Group approached me because they wanted financial advisors that had a strong sales and marketing background. You know, my degree was in public relations. I did a sales diploma. I did marketing and sales. So then I got approached by the De Vere Group. You know, somebody just calls you to say there's a job here. Why? Because of all the steps that I've done in the past, all the networks that I've done in the past, and I don't even remember who recommended me. Because I've met so many people, I've put myself out there. And then I said, finance, I don't know anything about finance. I said, no, we'll train you. All we want is your sales skills. We'll train you, and for sure they trained me. I got into that company. I was sent to Cape Town to do my first level training, Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments, introduction you know, to investment. I did it in Cape Town. I did my second level in London. I flew to London for the first time when I joined De Vere. So putting yourself out there. And again, when I joined the Vere Group, there were only men. I was the only female financial advisor. Because they said this job is difficult. And Zambians are lazy. And there was 90%, there was 80% experts. So they would hire expatriates from other countries. They come work for 2 years, they go back. So I said, why don't we have Zambians, a lot of Zambians in this office? Zambians are lazy. Which is true. Zambians are lazy. And my job is commission only, by the way. I've worked on commission only for 9 years. No salary. Zambians don't want that. You want a salary. You want when you are off today, you're off for the week, month end, what time am I getting paid? So then, that's the reason why they were only hiring experts. So then I said, look, what do I need to do for me to rise up the ladder? And this is the company where who you know doesn't matter. It's just your hard work. It's just about numbers. Yeah. So then I was given a guideline to say, if you achieve ABC, you bring so many clients, then you step up to become a team leader, and then you start recruiting your own people. I said, fantastic, I can do that. I was working at a company for a long time. I brought in so many sales. I was not being given commission. I was on a salary. Now I'm here, and I get paid for every client I bring. Bring it on. And then, you know, within a year, I achieved my target and became a team leader. And now started recruiting Zambians and women. Yeah? But Zambians are lazy. Women are lazy. You want to get Mother's Day. What are you doing on Mother's Day? Nothing. If I take Mother's Day today, I'll be watching Netflix. That's it. You know? So I made team leader, started recruiting. You recruit 10, maybe 2 will be good. So many excuses, you know. And that's what hinders success. Giving excuses, and, you know, you want to attend everybody's funeral. Even your neighbor's friend. You know? Like, that's the reason why a lot of people miss opportunities. I've never gone on Mother's Day. I've never gone on Mother's Day. I lost, you know, When I lost my mother a few years ago, I was still working for the VIA group. I used to do the hospital, and sometimes I would sleep at the hospital, at UTH. In the morning, all I asked for was permission to report for work late, a little bit late, because I have to go home, take a shower, go to the office, and lunchtime I have to go home, take some food, and go back. I miss maybe 1 or 2 days, but not every single day. Because at the end of the day, I need money for my mother to be in the hospital, So if I'm going to take a week off when my mother is sick, where's the money coming from? One time, my son, they called me at school, this is years back, they called me at school and said, oh, he fell down and he's cut himself. I rushed to the school, took him to the hospital. The doctor looked at him, the teachers, they said, oh, it's not serious, but he just needs to rest. They gave him medication, took him back home. Medication, he slept, the maid is home. I went to the office, and someone was saying, but your son is sick, why are you here? I said, I'm not a doctor. I need to make money. I've got meetings. So it's just small things like that that make you succeed in life. The people that put in extra are people that have extra. But if you're going to use every excuse not to show up, then trust me, there's nothing that is going to change in your life. You need to make sure that, when you're working, you're putting in your all, you're putting 110%. Put in 110%, because life will always throw excuses at you. And because of my hard work, my dedication, I made area manager. After that, director. I'm now the country director for the VIA Zambia. And I'm the first female Zambian to be a director in this organization. It's all hard work. It's hard work. You make a decision. You need to make a decision to succeed. You make a decision. You can either, mourn about your life, talk about how badly your life is going. You need to decide. I decided that I'm going to have a good life. I'm going to give my children a good life. I made that decision. And mindset is important. Mindset is everything. You need to make sure that you're positive. Visualize the kind of life that you want to lead and start working towards it. If you visualize the life that you want, you can achieve anything in life. So it's very important. It's also important the type of people that you associate with, because that is also key to your success. Because you can be positive, but everybody around you is negative. So at some point you might need to make decisions to love some people from a distance, And a lot of times when we are cutting down on negative people, sometimes we forget within our families as well. It's not just friends that are negative. It can also be family. When I got this job, a lot of people would say, commission only. How are you going to survive? Better you get a job at ABC. But here I am. I've been here. I'm almost clocking 10 years. So mindset is important. If you are to live with anything from what I have said today, mindset, network, the people that you surround yourself with are very important. Okay? And you have to know that nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything in life. So whether you have a rich uncle, a rich friend, and they're not helping you, it's okay. They don't owe you anything. You owe yourself the life that you want to live, and you need to make a decision. Decide what kind of a life you want. We all go through challenges, some worse than others, but you make a decision to say, is this going to stop me from succeeding? Just because I had, a bad background doesn't mean that that's it. Whatever happened to me is not my fault. Those are just things that happen to me. People disappoint all the time. You know, there's so many things that have failed in the past. I had a failed marriage as well. I didn't let that destroy me. So many things happen, but that's how life is. So you make a decision. You can succeed. You can have the life that you want. Yeah? And I'm not done. I'm the director now, but I'm still going. I'm still going to school. I'm now doing my master's. So the next time I'm invited to talk, I'll probably be a regional director or something. Yeah. So networking, choose how you spend your time. You know, come to things like this because you pick up one or two things. You know, if you hear, and you know, in this day and age, there's actually so much things for free. You know, even this virtual period, because of COVID, you find there's so many free conferences online. You know, sometimes I get amazed. I find young people, they're on Facebook, but they're not on LinkedIn. Like they don't have a LinkedIn profile, or they're on Facebook, but they can't remember their email address. If you say, send me a CV, they can't. I'm not saying Facebook is bad. Social media is good. Use it wisely. Get opportunities. Make sure that you associate yourselves with people that will think of you when they hear of opportunities. Make sure that you're doing something. You know, sometimes some people think you can only have a good life when you are getting a lot of money. It's not always about that. Sometimes it's just about your skill. You know, I'll tell you a story before I got promoted, because I love cooking, I bake a lot. So I used to bake muffins, take to the office, and sell to my co-workers. So every morning I would go with a bowl of muffins, and I'll just let them take, have one. At the end of the month, I'm going around with my book. You owe me 5 kwacha, you owe me 10 kwacha. And then when you total up, you find you've made 300 or 400. You know, that's more money that I didn't have. I used to do that a lot, but then when I started getting promoted, it didn't work out, because if you owe me money and you're reporting to me, it might think like if I'm telling you something, it's because of the money that you owe me. You know, so things like that. There's so many things that someone can do. You know, sometimes even if you don't have a job, there's so many other things you can do to try and make a little bit of money for yourself. You know, use your skills. What are you good at? If you're good at cooking, do that. You know, make some extra money, extra income, so that, you know, you don't depend on other people. It's not just about having the best job. Before the best job comes, what are you doing in between? What are you doing in between? You know? So, Pastor, I don't know if there was anything else that you wanted me to touch on.
No, just what would be your roadmap for us if we want to get there? You've given us quite a lot of things now. So we're looking at, from your experience, what should the next generation pay attention to reach directorship, country director?
I think part of what I have said really, it's putting yourself out there. Because remember, I'm a director in a financial advisory firm, and I didn't study that in school. You know, sometimes just throw yourself out there for opportunities. Sometimes you might not get a job in the field that you have studied. You know, some companies are willing to train you. Sometimes, you know, a degree or a diploma is just an entry into a position. You know, so don't limit yourself only to what you have studied. Sometimes some people study things because that's what they could afford, or because that's what their parents wanted them to do. So throwing yourself out there for opportunities, and when you get an opportunity, you know, sometimes people forget, human beings, when you're looking for a job, you're going door to door, you're calling everybody. And then the minute you get that job, you're complaining about everything. There's power in the tongue. Power in the tongue. Your tongue is powerful. You're complaining about everything. You forget that job, you really needed it. You're off. Work ethics, very, very important. Very, very important. And when you commit to something, you need to make sure that you show up. Commit to something, show up. Don't give excuses. If you are told to report for work at 8, report for work at 8. And go the extra mile, because also people are watching. The person who does more than the other will always get more out of life. And be a team player. Be helpful. If you've learned something, help another person. People are always looking. Sometimes you don't even know that someone is watching you. So always make sure that you are giving whatever opportunity you have your all. It might not be the job, your dream job yet, but one day somebody's going to call you. When you get that opportunity, treat it like an egg. Especially during this COVID, a lot of people have lost their jobs. So if you have something, make sure that you are treating it the same way when you first started, when you first got that opportunity. And learn, ask questions. Don't just, if you're given a job description and you're just working within that job description, that's it. Make sure that you're learning everything within your job role and outside your job role. Because you never know when you're going to use some of those skills. And also, the networks, there are so many bodies, there are so many associations that you can belong to where you network with people. So many associations, for young people where you can belong to and, have conversations with like-minded people. It shouldn't just be within your circle. Like, try and expand. Try and do things that will get you noticed. You meet a new, different person, That is key. That has been key for me. I've always, when I see something, if I know that it's going to benefit me, whatever platform I see where, I see women that I look up to, I go there and I ask questions. There was a time, some time back, I attended a networking event. It was called Corporate Hills, which was done by one of my colleagues, Janice Matwi. My colleague then, but I met her at Corporate Hills. So it was like a group of women, powerful women. They go there, they give you tips. And then I met a lady, her name is Mumbi Kandeke. She's head of HR at Zanaco now. So at the time, when we sat there, I saw her. I said, I'm going to talk to her at the end of this event. I went to talk to her, and I didn't ask her for a job. I just said, please give me a few minutes of your time. I want some career advice. And that's what that's the mistake a lot of people make. Because in our position, every day there's someone looking for something from you. So sometimes when you meet some of these people, just ask for their time for advice. So I asked her, I said, please give me a bit of time. She said, come to my office tomorrow. I went to her office, sat in her office for an hour, and I never mentioned that I'm looking for a job. I just asked for tips. I told her what I have done. I asked for career tips. What do I need to do? The same question Pastor wants me to answer. What do I need to do to position myself? And she gave me, insight and opened doors to the corporate world for me. So sometimes it's not always about what you can get from someone, always asking, I'm asking for a job, I'm doing what. Sometimes you just need to pick someone's brain. I'll give you another example. Like my LinkedIn, I receive a lot of inboxes. I'm looking for a job. I've done ABC. Then this gentleman must have done a research on me and saw that she loves taking photos. He's an upcoming photographer. And then he sent me a LinkedIn message. Hi, madam, my name is ABC. I've got a new studio in Kawata. I would like to take free photos for you. A free photo shoot. Of course I went for a free photo shoot. But guess what? I advertised his business. Advertise his business. So this is somebody who's thinking forward. Instead of him saying, you know, I probably wouldn't have gone because I've got my own photographers that I will call, right? So if he came and said, you know, 600 kwacha per session, I probably wouldn't even have opened or responded to him. But he gave me a free photo shoot. And within that free photo shoot, a lot of other customers saw that. So sometimes it's what can you offer? What can you offer for you to get more? You know, if you're walking up to me, what can you offer? Because remember, somebody else has already asked me for a job. So it's not new, we get that all the time. So you look at people that you look up to. Sometimes it's just that time. If you just ask for the time, you might even find, oh, by the way, we actually have a job opportunity. You know? Oh, by the way, I'm actually looking for a personal assistant. Simply because you've offered something. So be intentional in positioning yourself. Be intentional. Look out for people that can make a change in your life, you know, and see what you can offer. Sometimes it would be nice just, you know, can I buy you a cup of coffee? And then who knows, during that conversation, I'm like, wow, that's probably her last money that she's using to buy me a cup of coffee. Next time I hear of an opportunity, I will think of you, you know. So be intentional, position yourselves, but don't always be begging, you know. And I've been observing there are people that are writing down what I'm saying, and then there are people that are not. That is also key. When I go anywhere, I'm writing down everything. Because no matter how smart I am, I can't remember everything. Yeah. So it's key, write down whatever you're learning. Because people are putting aside their time to be here. Pastor is here sharing when he could be doing other things. So write down everything. Because you forget. So much happens. You leave this door, your phone is ringing, there's something, there's a scandal on Facebook, there's politics, there's this person, like so much things happen. You go home, and then you would have just spent your day for nothing, you know. So pay attention to everything every opportunity that comes your way. When you get that opportunity, make sure that you follow through. If you say you're going to show up, show up. Don't give excuses. Yeah? Ask, offer your time. Be helpful, be a team player. Make sure that you are reliable. Make sure that you're the go-to person. If there's an opportunity, will people think of you? If you say, I'm sick, will people doubt? You say, you know. Every day. You as if you're the only one with a child. Every day my child is sick. You know. Every day my child is sick. I'm taking my child to the hospital. My mother. You're the one with problems all the time. Like, are you the only parent in this world? You know. So, and then sometimes, like I said, you know, mindset is important. Power of the tongue is important. You keep lying about things. Things just won't go well with you. Because you're always thinking negative. You're always lying to people you're sick. You're always lying, even sometimes when it's straightforward. Someone is waiting for you. Where are you? You're in Kabwata, but you're saying I'm at Manda, I'm almost there. That's also a lie. It's little lies that add up. If you agree to meet someone at 10 and you're going to be late, just say I'm going to be late. And late going to the office is not an excuse, because when I worked for Zawa, I used to live in Chadley. I used to get on 2 buses. Chadley, Kulima Tower. Kulima Tower, I'd walk to downtown to get a bus that is going to Kafue. I used to be one of the first people there, even faster than the people that were living within Chilanga. So wherever you stay, whether you are staying in Makeni, you can show up early. If you are late one day, you should probably know the traffic movement in that road. So you should know that yesterday I started off at 6. You know, I started off at 6:30. So tomorrow I'm starting off at 6 to see if there'll be a difference. Because there'll always be traffic. Sometimes a bus will break down. There are always things beyond your control. So manage what you can manage. It's not an excuse. Yeah? And then also dress up for the job you want. Every organization has got different, dress codes. So make sure that you dress up for the job you want. There are certain, you go to a company, you find everybody's in jeans, but have you noticed the executives? They're never in jeans at work. They've always been in a suit because they can be called at any time. They're always smartly dressed. So emulate those people and see. Yes, maybe the dress code is relaxed, but why is the boss always looking smart? So dress for the job you want. Make sure that you are presentable. Make sure that people think about you when they think of an opportunity. Be there, be available, be helpful. If I think of an opportunity, again, opportunity is not just within the company you work. Sometimes you can find that maybe you're good at something. And then, if people know, they will think of you. If you are dependable, they will think of you. And that way it helps you become reliable. So if there's an opportunity in the office, there's an opportunity for a promotion, you're the first person that they're going to think of. And when there's vacancies, like, within the company, ask, what do I need to do? Go to HR, go to whoever you need to talk to. What do I need to do? Like, dream big. Even if it will take you 3-5 years, as long as you've asked. Don't just say, they brought somebody because it's a relative or what. Ask questions. Don't be comfortable where you are. Make sure that when you see an opportunity, you are asking and you're working towards that. I have vision boards. I visualize everything at the beginning of the year. Even my children, I've introduced them to that. So at the beginning of the year, we put magazines. It might sound cliche to some people, but I still do that. I've got in my bedroom, my wardrobe, in my office. Pastor was in my office, he can attest to that. I've got vision boards on my table. Everything that I want, if I want to buy a new fridge, I'll put it on the vision board because there's power in visualizing. I don't end there. I also write my goals down. Write your goals down. I break my goals down. Family goals, personal goals, spiritual goals, financial goals. Yeah, and then I've got work goals as well. Things that I want to achieve at work. If I want to hire 10 people, I will put it down. So I do that at the beginning of the year. I write everything down. I break them down. And goals, it can be like, I'll tell you, one of my family goals is to, have dinner out with my children once a month. It can be anything like that. It can be do an activity, have a movie night, do something, family goals, whatever it is. If you want to buy a plot, put it down. You want to buy a house, put it down. Even if you keep repeating some goals, I do that as well. I don't achieve all my goals. But then it's a nice feeling to go back and say, wow, I did this, I achieved this. Because you can't just be going around in life without focus. Yeah, you need to have goals. You need to write them down. For the men, because you wear a shirt with a pocket, put it in your pocket where you can look at it every day. For the ladies, put something in your handbag. When you're seated down, nothing to do, look at them, visualize. The more you look at it, the more you get encouraged to meet your goals. It's very important. It is absolutely important to write down your goals. When I go back, most of the things that I had written them down somewhere. I had written them down as goals. Only that, we can't achieve everything, but we can try, right? So next year we do it again. And you see now, you can have excuses, oh, COVID. But have you noticed, during this COVID, life is still going on. Life is still going on. Nobody is coming to say, no, because of COVID, It's okay even if we don't make money for the company. No. You still need to make money. And there are people that have actually made more, you know. There are some people at my office, like there's this really, really bright young man. He started doing deliveries. He doesn't drive. He uses a bus, going to shop for people. At the time when COVID hit, he started advertising on his WhatsApp, if you want me to buy groceries for you, I'll buy groceries for you and deliver. I'm one of the people who called him. Send him a list, send him money. He goes to Melissa, he buys you fruits, whatever you want, he brings home on a bus. I could have gone with my car, but I said, let me support him. Yeah? So there's so many things that people are doing. A lot of businesses have come up during this period because of COVID, because people don't want to go out. So if you are waiting for an opportunity, sometimes the opportunity is lying just there. You know? It's just thinking outside the box. To get to be a director, I've already given you the tips. Be intentional, you know, ask questions. I asked a lot of questions, and it wasn't easy because as a woman, you have to work extra harder than a man. Yeah. The men won't respect you. The women won't respect you as well, sadly. So in order for me to stand and tell people what to do, my performance needs to be better than them. So that even when I'm talking, you know, otherwise they won't respect you. So you need to work extra hard. And I mentioned during my interview with Pastor that I've had to invest in myself a lot. Invest in how I look. You know, we wear Wall Street smart suits. So I've had to invest in myself. So that as a woman, if my client says, meet me at a restaurant, he's not going to think I'm going there for a date. I'm here for business. I've done, you know, I don't accept for a client to pay for my drink or dinner. If I'm going for a meeting, I'm paying. Or, you know, pay for yourself, but not for me. Because I want to be on the same level as you. If I go there, you know, I'm wearing a short dress, I'm trying to get a male client to invest, what's going to happen? They're just going to think, you know what, let me buy you a drink. No, I can buy myself a drink. Yeah. So it's being intentional. Investing in yourself is important. How you look is important. Because people will address you the way you dress. They will address you the way you dress. So it's very important. Pay attention to how you look, you know. Even if you can't afford to buy something from the shop, go to Salaola. I've gone to Salaola. And nobody, it's not written down. Like this dress, I could have bought it at Salaola, right? You can't tell. Only you yourself know where you bought it. So there's no excuse to not looking proper, to not looking professional. Even if you don't have a job yet, but if you look professional, people will notice you. People will notice you. The same clothes that you're buying, why not buy professional look? So that people can, you know, think, oh, where do you work? No, I don't work, I'm looking for a job. You know, even if you don't work, or if you work, people will think, maybe you're one of the managers. You know? How you look is important, it's key. It's also added to my success. It might seem like it's a small minor thing, but it's not. Because if I'm in a suit, you know, people automatically they're going to respect me. And for a woman it's more important. Very, very important. Otherwise all you're going to be getting are marriage proposals, dates, dinner proposals. Is that what you want? You can get a dinner today, but what happens tomorrow? You know? Maybe you can even get married. But is that all you want in life? Yeah? So make sure that you are really intentional in how you look, in how you conduct yourself. If something happens, let people say, Maureen, are you sure it's the same Maureen I know? Let people want to counter-check that story. Not where they say, we knew. You know? So be intentional. Put yourself out there. You know? Yeah. I think I've talked a lot.
Thank you so much. We're going to open it to questions.
Sure.
So those with questions, please just lift up your hand and we'll take the questions.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for that information. At the start of the program, I think it was on day one, Pastor introduced us to something saying most of us live by default, not by design. So my question is, by default, you weigh your grandfather's daughter, and most people would have expected you to conduct yourself or carry yourself in that particular manner. So even when things went bad, people wouldn't have expected you to do some of the things that you did. So how did you fight your grandfather's name to build your own legacy?
Yeah, that's a very good question. You see, for me, the only thing that my grandfather's name has done is, oh wow, your grandfather was a good man. You know, are you everywhere I go? Are you the Oblieto? Yes, that's all it has done. And because that's from the outside, like the people from the outside, they'll see, oh, the Oblieto name, but from within, there was nothing that I was getting for that name. So I had to make a name for myself and brand myself. If you go on Google right now and put Maureen Oblieto, you will see various things that will come up that I have done. Various things. I've been awarded by the Bank of Zambia governor for financial literacy in Zambia 2 years in a row. I've done presentations. I've done so much. So it's also taking every opportunity for me to brand my name, to give myself this brand, you know. I've done so much, like I'm here right now talking to you. This is part of branding myself as well. In as much as I'm helping myself as well. Someone is going to pick this up and say, wow, she was talking to this group of people. And somebody else will call me and say, come and talk to people. I was invited for the interview because of my network. Somebody was at my event and she heard my story. And she said, Maureen, you have to come and be on this TV interview. If I just sat there, I would not have been given that opportunity. Now that story has gone viral. It's not just in Zambia. It's outside. By the way, Pastor, I've been invited. One of my friends is organizing for me. The next time I'm in London, they want me to talk because of that interview that I did. Yeah. So branding yourself, what is your brand? If I ask for your name and I put your name in Google right now, what's going to come up? Yeah. What's going to come up? Like, just do that trick. After this, put your name in Google and see what comes up. If you're not happy with what comes up, then change. And in this day and age of, you know, tech, we live in a tech world, right? We live in a virtual world, social media. You can't afford not to have a brand. Because even when you go for an interview, I check CVs. If I'm about to go in an interview to interview someone, I'll check you on WhatsApp, on Facebook, sorry. I'll check, because I want to know who I'm talking to. And already if I find something negative, it already disturbs my mind. I'm not listening to what you're saying. So employers check. You can't say what I am on Facebook is not who I am. So put your name there, and if you're not happy with what comes up, then start changing. And you know, you're here right now. Take photos. Show people that you're doing something positive. Because this is the world we live in. Everybody's on social media. If you attend this, talk about it, share something about it. Can be on your WhatsApp status, because you're helping somebody else out there. And you're building a brand. You can't just come here and learn and keep it to yourself. Talk about it within your networks. So yeah, I've had to intentionally build my brand. Yeah.
I think most of the things that you spoke about are really inspiring. I remember walking into your office and I saw your vision board, and immediately it reminded me of how most times we forget what our visions are and we don't want to write them down. Now my question is, sometimes you get carried away with everything that you're doing. Mm-hmm. You have work, you have family and whatever. How do you focus on self-development? I know you read a lot. I saw the books that you had in your office. Yeah. How do you keep up with that? Your work life, everything that you do in that space, your family and personal development. How do you continue that?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question. And if you're not careful, you can lose it, because life is so demanding. Our jobs are demanding. Our families are demanding. At some point, you need to find time for yourself. You need to find some time for yourself. If you don't create that time, it won't come. Because everybody needs your attention. Work, so you need to make sure that you are intentionally doing things that are developing you as an individual. Be it reading, be it just being nice to yourself. Buy yourself ice cream, it's good for your mind. Life is hard already. Like, just switch off and say, you know what? Today I'm taking myself for ice cream. Don't wait for people to do that. That's also self-development, because you feel good afterwards. We need to normalize making ourselves feel good, not waiting for other people to make ourselves feel good. You need to normalize that. Whatever it is that you can do for yourself, it can be a packet of Hungry Lion, whatever level you're on, enjoy that level. Don't wait until you can afford seafood. Whatever level you're on, enjoy every level. It can just, whatever it is that you like. Whatever it is that you like, make sure that it's good for your mind, and invest in yourself. Read something new every month. It can also be watching something powerful on TV. That can also be part of your self-development, because this show, they teach you something. You need to make that time, because otherwise you're just going to be miserable. If you're working, there are bills, and bills will never end. For me, before I've got a rule, before I pay any bill, I take care of myself first. And I've done this even before I was getting a lot of money. Whatever it is, before I pay any, because bills will always be there. Bills will always be there. Do something for yourself. Whatever it is that you like, before you pay your bills, pay yourself first. It can be just buying, and books are not even expensive in book world. They're not expensive. And these days, there's books you can download online. So do something for yourself. Make sure that you're creating that time for your personal development. It's important. You'll be kinder to people when you're happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely. There's something that I read that hurt people. If you're hurting yourself, you'll be hurting other people. So if you're happy, you'll be kinder to people. Because life is hard. Yeah. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, Ma. My question would be, you've been country rep now for some time, and not in a dictatorial type of way in which I'm asking, but how do you maintain your seat of power, especially that you haven't been to school for it? So probably there are other young people who have more knowledge on that particular area, but how do you maintain your seat of power as a director, especially as a woman? Mm-hmm. But I think it's also relevant for men. Thank you.
Sure. So just point of correction, I had to go to school to be able, because I'm a financial advisor, right? So I remember I said they had to train me. So I had to go to school for me to be where I am. So it's states like that, you know, you need to take yourself back to school. You've got this opportunity. You can't just stay there and say, I've been given this opportunity. You know, you need to upgrade your studies. You need to make sure that you are harnessing your skills every single day. Like, I practice my presentations. If I've got a presentation with a client, I'm practicing. I'm making sure that I'm on top. I'm a top performer. You know, I'm making sure that everything that I'm doing is always a step ahead. You need to make sure that you're working hard. There are young people who are hungry, yes. Hungry to succeed is good. It's good, but for you to maintain that seat, you need to make sure that you are staying relevant. You're being innovative, bringing in ideas, okay? But remember also that when you get to this position, you also need to start building other people also to be where you are. So giving people, like, you know, just being a leader, helping people, showing people the, you know, the ropes. This is what you need to do, yeah? So that way you don't feel like the minute I'm not here, someone will take my position. No, if you're confident in what you're doing, that doesn't matter. And there's enough room for everybody on top. So being scared that somebody else is going to take your position, that is not the way. Just be confident in yourself, be confident in what you bring to the table. And teaching other people doesn't mean that they will surpass you, because by the time they are learning, you'll be on top. You know, they're not catching up. You're helping them. They'll be in your position one day, but you'll be up there. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I hope I've answered your question. Thank you so much.